Welcome to Alouettes Flightdeck, podcast dedicated to Montreal Alouettes football, presented by SportBuff. I'm your host, Tim Capper, along with Cliffy D. Hey, how are you, buddy?
Hey now.
A lot better than we were, man. On Sunday, man, I can only imagine. The show's still going to be fired tonight, considering, I can only imagine what it would have been like if we actually had taped on Sunday. I don't see how the guys over at 2 and Out do it.
Oh, well.
I don't know how they do it.
But it's a CFL based show, so it's not like they're specific to like any one particular team. So.
No, but they have their favorite teams, and obviously, they speak their minds about their teams.
Oh, definitely, and I think I just imagine what it would have been like if someone turned the mics on to us after that rather pedestrian showing in the Eastern Semi-Final.
You're being kind by calling it pedestrian.
I'm trying, but holy cow!
Well,
wow.
we can say piss poor without activating the lunatic. So, but first, and something you brought up to me, which I had not heard about before we get into, yes, it is a game. We fully understand that, but the news that came across that Cliff mentioned to me, and which I hadn't heard about, Cliff, we want to at least make mention of it, Cliff, and I think since you told me about it, I think you should go ahead and mention it.
Yeah, it's never fun to talk about. This is supposed to be a fun show, an entertaining show, informative, and all that stuff. And unfortunately, though, life does have a way of kind of just dropping bad stuff at the worst possible time. Found out via Matthew Schultz's Instagram that his mother unfortunately passed away in a car accident on Monday. I absolutely feel for Maddie. Losing a parent is never easy. And I can just imagine what he had to go through. After playing his last football game of the season, probably was looking forward to going home and seeing the family and everything like that. And then finding out that his mom was killed in a car accident, it's heartbreaking. And I have to say, Maddie, that you're in our thoughts. Your whole family's in our thoughts. We're so sorry for your loss. And what else is there to say? It's tragic more than anything else. And if nothing else, our words probably can only offer so much comfort. But like I said, we're thinking of you. We're praying for you. It's a tough thing. So Maddie, we're behind you no matter what. You know that.
Exactly. We felt it would be better to go ahead and, it's best to mention it right away for us, because that way, I think it actually means more talking about it now than leaving it to the end of the show, just in case if some of you may not get that far into the show and stuff like that. But I think it was well worth mentioning first and foremost, because it's, as I said, life can suck sometimes, and it really can. So, as I said, this is just a game. So
that's it. In the grand scheme of things, yeah. Are we upset with what we saw in this past Sunday? Absolutely, and we'll definitely talk about it. But in the grand scheme of things, it's a drop in the ocean. It really is.
Yeah, it is. I agree with you. After the game, as everybody now knows, the Alouettes, they pooped the bed, 23-12, in the loss in Hamilton in the Eastern Semi-Final. I was looking to see if I could, I went and I contacted quarterback insurance. It's Gridiron Insurance, and I was trying to see if there was anything that we could use to revoke. Because everybody, this was our, Trevor Harris was our insurance policy. And I was just trying to find any way, shape, or form that maybe somewhere in the fine print that we could use to totally disqualify or devalue or find anything written that we could use, and hopefully the Owls could use, to just get rid of this policy. Because, you can be living in a place and sometimes you're offered, oh, you know what? Here, you're in a certain place. It's like, oh, here, do you need earthquake insurance? Well, no, I don't think I need earthquake insurance. You don't think so until you actually have an earthquake. Same thing with floods and stuff like that. But in the Alouettes case, this is a guy who was anointed. The insurance policy for the Owls once Vernon went down, and the person that I spoke with, she was really nice over at Gridiron Insurance, but I mean, they didn't see anything in the policy that they could actually let me know about. Everything, because it was salary and stuff like that. They were just, they were just saying, well, we really can't tell you. There's a possibility. But they said, obviously, the drop dead date. They reminded me of that bonus that's coming up in early 2022. So, our basic words were to me, well, if you don't like your policy, then just drop it and go with something else. So, hey, the ball's in the Alouettes court now.
Yep. I mean, the fact that Trevor Harris hasn't already been future endeavored still blows my mind.
Well,
it's
and I told you, and this is my thought on this, and we are going to get to the game and what there was of it. But this is my actual thought on this. And by the way, if you, the fans, agree with me, please at me. Say something in social. I really want to know what you're feeling about this. I really think that the Alouettes are going to be waiting to the very last moment for Trevor Harris to decide if they're going to pick up this bonus stuff that he is due until the very last moment. Because even though, as we saw, Vernon having the sling taken off of his arm where he was hurt, he still has to go through rehab. And I think that's the main reason why we haven't heard that he has been released yet. I'm sure the Owls will try to renegotiate or restructure his contract. And we saw what happened when he was with Ottawa when it came to a signing bonus. He didn't like it, and Ottawa just said, well, screw you. Bye. I think the Alouettes are going to wait to the very last moment. They want to see what happens with VA and his rehab before they do anything.
Well, and even then, I mean, why wait? I mean, look, I get what you're saying, but at the same time, even if Vernon Adams isn't ready to go, there's still the matter of paying this $300,000 bonus on February 1st.
Yeah.
And whether or not, again, ready to go or not is kind of a non-starter when you think about the fact that training camp isn't until May, hopefully. Do you really want to carry both of those guys' salaries, both Harris and Adams' salaries? Like, that's a good chunk of your salary cap tied up with two guys.
No, I understand that. I fully get that. And people need to remember too. I thought, if I'm not mistaken, that if you're on a 6 game or something like that, I think it's either half or I'm trying to remember what the actual number is when it comes to what actually goes against the cap if you're on the 1 game or the 6 game injured list.
Right, you're on the hook. You're on the hook for the salary if a player's injured. That's why I'm very thankful that Trevor Harris never got injured.
Yeah, and I understand that I understand you're still responsible for the money, but it doesn't go against the cap. So,
but is this really going to be an issue come February? Is my question, or late January?
I think by that time we may see the Owls may see where Vernon is in the rehab process. I mean, the plus, it's not his throwing arm. That's the huge plus.
That is definitely a huge plus. There's no question. But even at that point, like, I would still look at the body of work that Trevor Harris produced while in Alouettes colors, and I have a hard time justifying $3 for him. Never mind $300,000 for him. I'm sorry to say, but this all the hype that came bringing in a quarterback mid-season, and it was no different than any other time the Alouettes brought in a quarterback mid-season. It didn't work. And You know what? That's fine. That's fine that it didn't work. You tried something. You made a move. Sometimes the moves don't work out. I get it. Okay, Danny Machocha did his best. He panicked, seeing, maybe didn't realize just how good of a quarterback Matthew Schultz could be. you panicked. You had to go get someone with CFL experience because otherwise you had Shea Patterson, who had never thrown a football in the CFL in his entire life. I totally get all of that. You made a move. It didn't pan out. It happens. It doesn't make you a bad general manager. You made a move. It didn't work. It happens. Now you have to take a look at things like, okay, I made a mistake. This didn't go the way I thought it would. Now you cut bait. Simple as that.
Yeah.
You tear the bandage off. Say, you know what? It didn't work out. This guy isn't worth. He didn't live up to what I thought he would. You own up to it and you move on.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
Yeah. And as you said, the Owls had the last 4 quarterbacks that including Trevor Harris, the last 4 quarterbacks that the Owls had traded for and ended up starting in some way, shape, or form during the season that they were in, since 2007 hasn't gone very well for the team, I will admit. I mean, for Harris, Manziel, Glenn, and Moss, in their first season as their quarterback, they were a grand total of 5-11. So I mean, and that's not counting Glenn's second season with the Alouettes,
right?
But
Jason Moss Jason Moss really didn't get a whole lot of playing time.
No, he was the only one that had a winning record. He was 1-0 in his only start. So, again, it's going to be curious to see what's going to happen. I'm curious to know if some of the free agents are going to say, listen, I want to play for the Owls, but I want to play for the Owls as long, VA is the starter.
Mm-hmm.
Which could happen. I mean, I'm sure it's a tactic that has been used before in pro sports,
without question.
So
I'm sure like any potential free agent, obviously you want to get paid. You want to make sure you get your opportunity to shine. I mean, those are the big things when it comes to free agency. But the other thing you have to take a look at is do I have a chance to win with this team as it sits?
Yeah.
And I can't imagine any of the potential free agents that the Alouettes have, after what they've just gone through, the 5 games or 4, the 5 games that where Trevor Harris was a part of this team, and look what happened.
Yeah.
1-4. I mean, and that one win. I'm sorry, that may as well have been a half win because
it's 1-3, and he came in halfway through another one. Do you really count that against him? I mean, unfortunately, Schultz gets the L on that one.
Well, like I say, if you really want to nitpick on that,
I know,
I know. The point is, he was a part of that. So I mean,
he had
he came into that game and ended up winning it.
He had a blown
it's a whole
save.
different story.
He had a blown save.
Sure, let's call it like that.
Blown save.
But to me, like you look at the body of work, those like compared to the first 9 games of this season for the Alouettes, which were not perfect by any stretch. Let's not cast any aspersions.
No, it was a series of 2-2-2-2-2.
Yeah,
until we got to the 4-game winning streak.
Yep. And
then,
listen.
But everything came to a head in this game. First, to me, it started with Patrick Levels. Again, I love his passion. I know we mentioned it last week, but I love his passion. And yes, it's true. Nobody wants to lose a game, Cliff. But for Christ's sake, he doubled down. I mean, I didn't expect it was going to be anything different, but he doubled down in the pregame press conference. That was, you can now go and see it on CFL.ca. Or on their Twitter page. On their YouTube page.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude. Again, to me, it was bulletin board material. We all know everybody wants to win every game. It's like us. We don't choose who's going to win the game between the Owls and X team because we want the Owls to win. But we don't guarantee a win, even though maybe in our heads we might. It's just like, dude, you gave it. It's the Eastern Semi-Final. You're in Hamilton, where the Owls' history in Hamilton has been garbage in the playoffs, no matter how good this team has been. And then you guarantee the game, the win, and The second quarter said it all. At the second quarter, it was done. Done.
Yeah.
You give up 20 points in any quarter, done. Especially within the first two quarters, done. And you don't score anything.
Yeah, and all you CFL honks that are like, "Oh, no lead is safe." You can go suck a lemon, as far as I'm concerned. Because you know what? Sometimes a lead is safe. That lead couldn't have been any safer.
Yeah, in this game it was. I agree. By the way, I mentioned this to you pre-show. Do you think there would have been any difference? Because everybody saw what the weather was like in Hamilton. Snowy. It was there snowy and 0, according to the CFL stats. There was sun galore here in Montreal. It was complete. I was surprised at how different. Just a short jaunt. 7 hours, but still, weather was completely different in Montreal. Do you think it would have been any different if the Owls had hosted here?
No,
because I see a little bit of people slipping on the turf. Makes me wonder about the turf at Tim Hortons Field, by the way.
Well, and again, that was a good trial run for them, considering they're going to be hosting the Grey Cup in 2 weeks.
No, I think they're just going to do what they did in Edmonton and let it harden.
Well, thankfully, I don't think Hamilton gets anywhere near as cold as what Edmonton does on the regular. So
no, well, hopefully the CFL learned with that one. But I mean, things could have been different. I doubt it though. But I mean, it would have been nice. But still, it's Harris's numbers don't mean anything in this game. Obviously, dude, you have to say it. I know you said it on social media. But what was the thing that you said specifically about Trevor Harris?
Oh, I mean, I've said a lot of things about Trevor Harris.
The one specifically about Montreal.
Oh, it's just the fact that for the second season in a row that Trevor Harris has prevented the Montreal Alouettes from going to the Eastern Final.
I love that. I love that.
And also, well, the one that I also couldn't help but mention was you can't spell Trevor Harris without Trash.
Oh, wow. I saw that one too. And everything didn't really mean anything. I mean, the Owls dominated the first quarter, should have had 7 points, but they looked really good in the first quarter. But they were only up by 3, and then it all went into the crapper.
Yeah.
From there. I mean, sure, Harris in the end was 28 of 44 for 364 yards and a touchdown, but he also had an interception, and he also seemed to not have stickum on his hands because 3 fumbles? Was it 3 fumbles?
Yeah. How ironic that one of my biggest complaints against Trevor Harris is that he holds on to the ball too long. And now he doesn't hold on to the ball. Go figure.
Yeah.
What a time to try to prove me otherwise. But oh my God. I mean, now listen. In absolute fairness, the offensive line did him absolutely no favors.
I agree with you.
And you
didn't do any help for William Stanback either.
No, and that was the thing. Like, Hamilton definitely game planned for Stanback, as we would have expected they would. I mean, the guy's the league leader in rushing. Of course, you're going to game plan for him. You know that the Alouettes are going to hand off to him.
And the Eastern nominee for most valuable player, most
outstanding player.
I know.
I mean, he was definitely valuable for the most part this year, but I digress. No, this offensive line just looked horrendous. Like, I basically said, there were a bunch of turnstiles.
And these are guys who just got a lot of the guys that just got re-signed.
A couple of them, yeah. And oh boy, I really don't want to call anyone out, but David Foucault, holy cow, he just looked awful.
Is that something where you would say what the Foucault happened?
Yeah.
I'm looking at you, lunatic. I got you there. Yeah. But it's
like you could say he did Foucault.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. I mean,
when it came to stopping the Hamilton defenders, he did Foucault.
I still, it's hard to. I mean, the Owls gave up 6 sacks, 6 freaking sacks. I mean, this is the team that the Alouettes team was number 1 in so many categories this year in the CFL, and even for a 500 team, and just nothing. I mean, our dream came true that both Cameron Artis-Payne and William Stanback both were starting at the exact same time.
Mm-hmm.
And he really did not take advantage of them in any way, shape, or form.
Not even a little. And that's where the coaching staff they've got to own that one, because as I said, you knew that Hamilton was going to game plan for Stanback.
Yeah.
Did they even know Cameron Artis-Payne was going to be playing in this game? Probably not.
Probably not.
So, in that case, you switch things up a little bit, especially too when you know bloody well Trevor Harris just.
Does anybody remember what Jeremiah Johnson did? Hello, the 1-2 with those guys. I mean, come on.
That's what I mean. Like a good ground game can make a huge difference. But again, I guess if the offensive line is just going to sit there like a bunch of pylons and basically let everybody run roughshod over them, then I guess it really doesn't matter who you have in the backfield. But again, I mean, still, they're just
Stanback 12 carries, 29 yards. That's the lowest output of the year versus Hamilton. For an average of 2.4. Nobody else was much better. Cameron Artis-Payne only got one attempt. It really was. I said we saw what Trevor's numbers were. Everything went to the wide receivers. I mean, Gino had an absolutely stunning game, and he was a gimpy Gino Lewis, who early on was not supposed. Was reported that he wasn't going to start. He started, but you could tell Gino was not himself. I mean, still 6 receptions for 127 yards. Yeah. Got everybody. It seems to get everybody else to do it, but it was too little, too late, dude. When you give up 20 points in the second quarter, the third straight playoff game the Owls have given up 17 plus points in the second quarter, and give up again 20 points, which is the fourth worst points given up in any quarter in playoff history. Again, you're going to lose because you give up those points. Like in those 3 games, you gave up 17 plus in the second quarter. The Owls lost all 3 games. Yeah, you can't do it. The game was over, and it totally takes away everything, including the running game, because you're down. You were down. 17 points off of turnovers. Hello.
Yeah.
Take away the 17 points, we have a game. Because as you mentioned before, Hamilton didn't really do much at all. At all.
They didn't have to.
And
they just had to make less mistakes, which again was not hard for against this Alouettes team that just found new and exciting ways to shoot themselves in the foot. Mm-hmm. I mean, I had to laugh. I thought, okay, how do you have a worse performance than the one you did against the Ottawa Red Blacks to close out the home finale? Like, I thought that was phoning it in.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, they're just saving themselves for the Eastern semifinal. Holy crap, I really wish the team that played against the Ottawa Red Blacks had shown up against Hamilton.
I mean, 371 total yards, Cliff, to 206.
No.
I mean, and again, I know doesn't mean much. They held the ball for more than 10 minutes in the first quarter, 33 minutes overall. But turnovers, 5 total turnovers. And what's been an Achilles heel the entire season, penalties. Yep. 12 of them for 115 yards. One that I think put Hamilton back into scoring position. And a couple on, he's done okay this year, but Pickett, again, on special teams, way too many penalties for Pickett this year.
Penalties, he's had all sorts of miscues. Like, again, we have to remember, he is a CFL rookie, but no, this ain't it. Yeah, folks.
What was it? We had a fumble return off of a punt, but because the defender, I swear the defender was blocked into the 5-yard. I don't know what you thought about that, but I swear that he seemed to be blocked into the 5-yard zone.
Yep. Not to mention, too, the roughing the passer penalties.
Yep.
Those will kill you every single time, especially, too, that there was one that definitely put Hamilton in scoring position.
Yeah.
I mean, this was death by 1,000 cuts for this Alouettes team. It's just brutal, absolutely brutal. And I would say that, the coaching staff, too, has to bear a lot of the brunt for this as well. I mean, discipline is huge in this. And, you want to say act like you've been here before. And the Alouettes have been here before. They were in the Eastern Semi-Final in 2019. And you'd think, okay, they're not playing at home. Because I guess that wasn't enough of a motivating factor. As far as I'm concerned, they made the business decision to prepare for Hamilton. It's like, okay, fine. If that's the way you have to do it, then so be it. But can you look at that team, the game you saw on Sunday? Can you look at that team and say that they were prepared for anything other than a swift ass kicking?
After the first quarter, I will admit, hopes were high, but then again, second quarter on, kind of killed it.
Yeah,
I was thinking maybe they get something done, because you got to admit that first drive in the first quarter, they really did run roughshod over Hamilton. They really did.
Sure,
but again, then after that, nothing.
Yeah, I mean, Stanback got stifled and they had to settle for a field goal. So okay, yeah, it happens. But okay, they got the momentum, some momentum going into that, into the second quarter. But then it just, like I said, they forgot how to football.
Yeah, 11 minutes 34 seconds in the first quarter.
And that's it. There's all these stats that on paper look like they played a decent game, but it doesn't add up to a hill of beans, because in the end, they've got 12 whole points to show for it. They put up 18 points against the Ottawa Red Blacks.
Yeah.
Do I need to remind people of this? It's, and again, I thought that game was them phoning it in and just coasting and just doing the best and hope that, that was going to be good enough.
Yeah.
This was an epic fail. This Eastern Semi-Final was an epic fail by the Montreal Alouettes. And it can't all be on Trevor Harris. He's got to bear a lot of it. But man, you talk about special teams, you talk about the offensive line, you talk about the coaching staff, you talk about, I think everything. It truly was a team effort. You win as a team and you lose as a team. Well, guess what? They definitely all lost as a team. They all got to own this L.
I think still people though will remember specifically what happened to Trevor Harris.
Well, that's it. Even if you had that faint hope that okay, he's going to be, he's coasting through the regular season, but wait, when it's playoff time, you saw what he did against the Alouettes. He played a perfect game practically. Blah 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 blah. No, I'm sorry, it doesn't work like that, folks. There's no on-off switch. As much as we talk about that, there is no on-off switch. There's no playoff mode click like that. It doesn't work that way. You are what you are, and I'm sorry, Trevor Harris is everything I said he was.
Yeah,
that's all there is to it. And quite frankly, if he's still an Alouette in 2022, I'm going to have a lot of questions about pretty much everyone in football ops. I'm sorry to say, there's no reason why you should even be considering keeping this guy in 2022.
I'd have to see how many total penalties he had, though, too. Now, he had 3 in this game for 45 yards alone.
It's just, I'm sorry, this guy's not a leader.
We'll have to see. Now, anything else that we dare talk about at this game before we move on to the ridiculous, in my opinion, ridiculous banter that's coming out of this game after it?
David Cote hit his one field goal. He did very good there.
Yeah.
That if you're looking for a positive,
and obviously with our hurt, Eugene Lewis considering free agent, I'm like, eesh.
I mean, you talk about the heart and soul of this team. For the longest time, you'd say it was Vernon Adams.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say for this last stretch, it was definitely Gino.
Yeah.
I love the way this guy plays. Like he is all heart.
There have been some huge pluses. We hated to lose BJ Cunningham this year, but look, I guess as it is with football, with the bad comes the good, and luckily for us, Reggie White Jr. really stood out. He really did.
He really did. Like, you talk about like the diamond in the rough. Like, remember how Jim Pop would find those diamonds in the rough when he was general manager for the Alouettes?
Yeah.
I mean, props to Danny Machocha and his staff for finding this guy because, I kind of laughed like when I heard Reggie White. I'm like, okay. And he's not at all related to the NFL Hall of Famer who is unfortunately no longer with us. Although this Reggie White Jr., his father did play in the NFL, but he's not that Reggie White.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just he's a Reggie White. He's not the Reggie White that, the Minister of Defense. He's not that Reggie White.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any relation at all, but I don't believe there is. But yeah, like Reggie White Jr. has been such a bright spot for this team in the latter portion. Like this latter portion of the season has been more dark than light. But let me tell you, Reggie White Jr. really proved himself to be a player, and I tell you what, like he can definitely be a part of this offense for sure. And he's proven himself to be a playmaker, which is great. I mean, that was one of those things that getting that relationship with from the quarterback and receivers is so crucial. I don't know really. Obviously, there was a bit of chemistry between Trevor Harris and Geno Lewis, a bit of chemistry between him and Jake Wieneke. Maybe a little bit between Kion Julian Grant and Quan Bray. There was little bits here and there. But I think the one receiver that really, I think, found a good connection with Harris was Reggie White Jr. And all I could think about is, man, imagine if it was Vernon or Schiltzy that was throwing to Reggie White Jr. Like the kind of plays that those guys would make.
That's another thing, too. You're talking about it was mind-boggling to me, and we saw all week, and we were speculating that Schultz was going to get the backup. And he didn't. It didn't make any sense, in our opinion. I don't think it had anything to do with the rosters. It had nothing to do with the rosters because it's quarterback swapping quarterback for quarterback, and he seemed to be practiced all week.
Yeah,
it makes us think that this was done very similar to what happened. I know we've mentioned this in previous shows. What happened to Vernon a couple of years ago?
Yeah,
with Johnny Football.
Well, that's it. You got the shiny new toy that everybody and their mother is all hyped up about, and the backup quarterback can kick rocks.
Yeah,
and it's frustrating. It's even insulting, really, when you think about it, because.
I mean, I understand why Schiltzy got pulled for Harris. I understand that. And then all of a sudden, if it was the knee, because I think he had tweaked it the week before.
Here's a tweaking. Okay, fine. Like, how bad of a tweak was it? Like, if he could have played, he should have played.
To be honest with you, dude, have you ever tweaked your knee? I haven't. So I don't know what it's like. You know what I mean? So it may have been okay that he tweaked it, then he tried to play, then Harris came in, but anyways.
Well, I'm talking about okay, fine. You're talking about earlier in like when Harris relieved Schultz during the game against Saskatchewan.
Because he had tweaked his knee, I think the week prior.
Okay, but I'm talking about like the last couple of games of the season where, quite frankly, I'm willing to bet. Again, this is just speculation on my part, but I'm willing to bet Schiltzy was healthy enough that he could have played in both of those games.
I think so too.
And why not? Why not let him play? Because
Ottawa, he was still in the one game. He hadn't been activated. Yada yada yada. Anyways, as I said, it to me it's shades of what happened to VA
in 2018. Yes. Yeah.
So. Okay. After the game, I don't know what day this popped up. All of a sudden, and as far as I know, it's Arash Madani, who everybody knows how he feels about the CFL. Sources and speculation. I know a good source that has said, but all of a sudden this thing came up that head coach Khari Jones is position is in trouble or potentially in trouble, and then it's picked up by everybody else, or Brzezowski, et cetera, et cetera. What is this garbage? I guess he has a year left on his contract. I mean, I understand. Yes, he does have he's 2 games over 500 in the regular season, and he hasn't won a playoff game yet. Okay, but again, I mean, we've seen coaches worse get fired. I don't know where this is coming from. If it's just somebody speculating or somebody putting out garbage. Because you've brought up a very good point. If it does happen that Khari is not here in 2022, it's potentially a huge issue when it comes to this new style, to the new coaches cap, unless it's increased.
And I highly doubt it would be increased, especially when this league is still hemorrhaging money and not turning any profits. I just don't see how it's feasible you can do that. I mean, unless something absolutely egregious happened with Khari, but I don't see that happening either.
I mean, I will admit, it wasn't a good year, but I think Khari did a very good job considering with what we had and all the injuries that we had.
Without
question. Coming from a guy who is very anti-CFL, all of a sudden this just happens to pop up?
And don't think for 1 second, if Khari became available, he'd get snapped up in a heartbeat.
I agree.
You fire him on a Monday, he will have a new job on Tuesday. That's what it is. I mean, he's, again, as I said, there have been a lot of mistakes this year, a lot of coaching decisions that didn't quite go as planned, and that's regardless of who the quarterback was, because there's a lot of play calls too when Vernon was a quarterback that I'm like, what the F was that?
Yeah.
And again, coach can only do so much, quarterback can only do so much. I mean, at the end of the day, the two have to work, in harmony. And I'd like to think that, that's his guy. Like, that's Khari's guy is Vernon, and Vernon's guy is Khari. Mm-hmm. Like, the two of them are symbiotic practically.
Mm-hmm.
To me, I'm baffled when I hear stuff like that.
Trust me, I did too. I was like, where the F did this come from?
And again, another argument to be made was, well, this new administration that came in 2020, they inherited Khari. So he's not their guy, quote unquote.
Then why didn't you make a change then?
Well, because he was already in a contract. Again, you just signed a 3-year deal at that point. So again, that's a pretty big.
It's also not stop people from firing head coaches.
Right, but at that point, like, how could you fire Khari in 2020 after the magical season the Alouettes just went through?
Yeah.
This year, okay, was not quite so magical, but it was not a terrible season either. I mean, take a look at what the Ottawa Redblacks and the Edmonton Elks went through. I'm pretty sure they would have been thrilled to go 7-7 and limp their way into a playoff spot.
And again, as I mentioned earlier in the show, look how well the Owls did in so many different offensive categories and just categories in the CFL this year.
Exactly. Like, the first 9 games of the season, while not perfect, statistically, this was a very powerful team. To me, like, I think there was just some execution was not 100%. It happens. A couple of bounces here and there, and we'd be looking at a completely different team with a completely different record. And this nonsense talk of Khari's future wouldn't even see the light of day. But now, just because things didn't go quite the way they should have, and your general manager brings in this quarterback that, I'm sorry, was not a fit in that system, and you wonder why it didn't work out. I mean,
Yeah.
So now things like this are going to start circling overhead. And, little nuggets that come out like this are just going to go, and it's just going to, where they say, where there's smoke, there's fire kind of thing. I don't know if it's quite at that point yet, but I mean, I just have a hard time believing that the Alouettes would even entertain this idea.
And if God forbid, if they do it, in my honest opinion, it'll happen right after Grey Cup. I don't think it will happen, but if that would be the optimal time to do it, because they're fighting for others to join. Edmonton's looking for another, Edmonton's looking for, a whole front office. I mean, Khari could be a good fit for a GM, and look how many teams are looking for GMs.
Well, I mean, that's definitely something to consider as well. I mean, he's got a good mind. He's a player's coach. Players absolutely love him. I don't know. To me, if you were to get rid of Khari Jones at this point, you'd be throwing out the baby with the bathwater.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
And do you really want to eat a year of his salary, hire someone else? And at this point too, like with the coach's cap being what it is, what caliber player or what caliber coach are you going to be able to bring in? Unless Danny Mac decides he wants to be a coach as well as a general manager. And I think we all know how that works out when it comes to GMs being coaches in Montreal.
Yeah.
Khari or Kavis. Edit that out.
No, I know what you meant. You just there's a Freudian slip.
Well, again, can't help but notice though the last two general managers the Montreal Alouettes had decided they can be coaches too. And how many Grey Cups did they win? Anyone? Bueller? Yeah, that's what I thought. So
let's have fun. You brought it up. Hold on a second. Let's find out.
And again, not trying to be disparaging, but I mean, the facts are the facts. Numbers are what they are. I mean, general manager and coach, some people can pull it off. And back in the day, guys like John Huffnagel, Wally Buono, yeah.
Jim Pop
had that.
Jim Pop, 23-40.
Okay. Kavis Reed, I believe, was 0-8. Obviously, not counting his time with Edmonton, but I'm talking about as Alouettes general manager. He was, I believe,
0-7.
0-7. I'm sorry. So
But
again,
still.
don't want to be disparaging, but
still.
so I mean, if one were to follow history, perhaps the general manager of the Alouettes should not be the head coach of the Montreal Alouettes. I'm just saying. Like, I understand Danny Machocha had a great career as the head coach for the Université de Montréal Carabins, and he did a great job recruiting and helping develop football players, so on and so forth, and that's pretty much what led to him becoming the general manager for the Montreal Alouettes. But maybe stick with that. Maybe that's enough. Maybe your plate's full enough with that without having to take on the additional responsibility of head coach. Just my opinion.
Right. Yeah. Yep. Anyways.
Because again, what other coach, like, you get rid of Khari and you're willing to eat his salary, all that good stuff, who do you bring in? Like, unless you've got an absolute stud lined up. And there are some decent coaches out, other coordinators out there that are jonesing for a... Yeah. I realize it too. Jonesing for an opportunity to become a head coach and would probably do very well if given the right opportunity. And who the hell wouldn't want to coach this Alouettes team up until recently?
By the way, just to throw this in, by the way, Danny Machocha, 2008, GM, coach, Edmonton Eskimos, 10-8.
Oh God, don't!
Dude, it has to be thrown in there. It has to be thrown in there because we were talking about it before.
And who was his quarterback?
08?
Yeah, I know who it was. Do you know who it was?
Oh, wait a minute. Was it Mike Riley?
No.
Oh, Ricky Ray.
Ricky Ray.
Yeah.
Guess what? Trevor Harris ain't Ricky Ray. Trevor Harris ain't even He's sure as hell not Mike Riley. Oh my God, I wish he were. Maybe Mike Riley would have beaten the Hamilton Tiger Cats on Sunday. Maybe, even with this piss poor performance by the offensive line and everything else, I'm pretty sure Michael Riley would have beaten the Hamilton Tiger Cats if he were the Alouettes quarterback instead of Trevor Harris. I don't know, but I'm telling you right now, if Danny Machocha is thinking, getting that thought in his head, being coach and GM, because he did it back in the day, like a long time ago, like 13 years is a long time. And the CFL has changed by leaps and bounds in those 13 years.
By the way, Machocha had only, and it's nothing against Danny Mac, because we're just using it with the other GMs becoming head coaches.
Right. And again,
he only had one winning season, by the way, as a GM.
Well,
2008, where he lost the Eastern Final to Montreal Alouettes.
Oh my.
2008.
Oh, of course. Anyway, was Jim Popp the general manager and head coach of the Alouettes in 2008?
Oh wait, no. Hold on.
Spoiler alert. No. He was not. I'm sorry. Mark Trestman was the head coach. Jim was able to. In fact, he actually stepped away from the head coaching duties to hire Mark Trestman.
You're right. It was Trestman.
So I'm just, again, you're absolutely right. We're not here to disparage Danny Mac because, like I said, I think he did a very good job in his first year as general manager of the Alouettes, with an on-field product, I should say.
Yeah.
I mean, 7-7 still not outstanding, but
still 500, and they still were in the thick of it. They were still in the thick of it in the Eastern Division.
Exactly.
2 games out of first, 1 game out of second.
There you go. So, I mean, as far as general manager goes, I'd say overall he did a very good job. He found some very talented players.
I agree.
He also signed Trevor Harris.
By the way, was it Duquay this weekend? Oh, I'm impressed. He has speed, man. First time I've really been able to see him play because he was hurt for most of the season, right?
Yeah, he got hurt.
He looked good.
Labor Day weekend.
He looked good, man. He got Mazzoli good.
Oh yeah.
See, they're the positives. There are some positives. We're not just trying to be completely negative, but it's just, yeah. When you hear this total BS about Khari, it just frustrates the hell out of us.
It is, and it's talk that just it goes. There's no positive to it. There's no nothing good can come of it.
No. Anyways, I say we digress. Let's move on. I mean, there are some positives to talk about coming up, obviously, but don't forget we are on social media. You know where to find us. But you want to find us on Twitter, you can find us at Alouettes Flightdeck. Cliffy at Cliffy D, me at Repacked. You can check out our Instagram pages, our Facebook. Also, the main place where you can check out all of our archives is at the AlouettesFlightdeck.ca. Facebook is, you can search for Alouettes Flight Deck, but best to do for Alouettes, search for Alouettes Flight Deck Pod, because we still have to deactivate our old personal Alouettes page, if that makes any sense. It's something we still have to do, but if you happen to come across it, it's the one that has the Christmas colors for our logo. Mm-hmm. Voila! And merchandise. We do have merchandise too. That's over at teespring.com/stores/Owls Flight Deck, where we just released this week. I want to get your thought on it. I didn't ask you about it, Cliff, but the minimalist logo for the Big O, which is an homage to the symbol that was used for Alouettes home games when they played at the Big O, shown in the old pocket schedules back in the 1980s.
I love it. I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
No, it's a great shirt. I mean, there's so much great stuff on the website. By all means, folks, if you want to support the podcast, we definitely appreciate you doing so by buying up all sorts of merch. I mean, it makes great holiday gifts. I mean, we're in that season now, folks, whether we like it or not, even though we've been listening to Christmas music since November 11th, at least. Some people even started November 1st, which, again, I'm not going to get into that rant. But you know what? At any event, I can't think of a better holiday gift to give to your friends, family, coworkers, what have you, than some really sweet Alouettes Flight Deck merch. So if you want to head over to the site, buy up a whole bunch of stuff, It helps us. We definitely appreciate it. And also, too, Tim, I forgot to mention that we are on YouTube.
That's right. That is right, sir. We're close to 30. I'm being honest with you. We're close to 30. We want to get to 100. I know it's a big ask, but again, and you know what, Cliff? I know we said we've teased it. I think we're just going to come out and say it. If you get us to 100 on YouTube, everybody who brings us up to that point will have a chance to win their own satin Delta logo jacket.
Dude.
It will be yours. It could be yours. Just get us to 100 on YouTube. So.
Can you imagine? I mean, folks, a free satin jacket. Like, if you've gone to the Instagram page, you'll see Tim and I rocking that sweet Delta jacket. It is beautiful.
No. It's not just the sweet Delta jacket, Cliff. It's that sweet, sweet Delta jacket.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And you know what, folks? It can be yours, free, absolutely free. We will send you this jacket if you folks get us to 100 subscribers on YouTube. One lucky subscriber,
yes,
will be given that jacket.
That's right,
free of charge.
Yeah, FOC baby, FOC.
So now the gauntlet's been thrown down. We are stepping up now. We want to make this happen. We want to get to 100 subscribers so we can get all sorts of goodies from YouTube to essentially help you all enjoy the podcast even more. So please go subscribe to the Alouettes Flightdeck. Just do a search for Alouettes Flightdeck. You'll find episodes on there. Leave us a like, subscribe. Good comments, bad comments. You whatever feedback you want to send to us, we want it. We want it all. But please get us to 100 subscribers. Once we do, we will select a random subscriber, and they will get a sweet, sweet satin jacket.
There you go, baby. There you go. Yes. By the way, also I gotta pimp out our presenting sponsor, SportBuff. Head over there, by the way, to sportbuffshop.ca. I think sportbuffshop. Got to figure it out. That's bad. SportBuffShop.com. They are currently running their own holiday specials. Depending on what you buy, you get an X amount off. So head over there and show Chris and Gary some love, and merch from many different
sports leagues.
Sports leagues, yeah, major sports leagues. So.
Yeah, it's not just CFL stuff. You got NFL, you got MLB, NHL, pretty much any sport you can think of.
Yeah, MLS, NCAA.
Yeah, they got the merch, so definitely show them some love as well. I mean, buy our merch first, but then if you've got some money left over, you get that sweet Christmas bonus, folks. I mean, you help us out, you help out Chris and Gary. I mean, listen, share the love. That's what I say.
Yeah, baby. Yeah. Hey, we were happy to see, who is being nominated for the Alouettes to become to go into the potential finals for the CFO Awards, and obviously we were happy to see who became All-Stars. The CFL announced, Cliff, the finalists for the CFO Awards, the East and West finalists, and the Alouettes came away with actually 2 members, didn't they?
They sure did. I mean, how exciting to know that. Despite what happened this past Sunday, knowing that one of the Montreal Alouettes is in the nomination, is the Eastern nominee for most outstanding player, and that would be absolute no-brainer, William Stanback. Now, he's going up against Zach Collaros for the most outstanding player? More than likely, Collaros will win it because, again, quarterbacks always seem to win this bloody award. It's so rare to see a non-quarterback win the most outstanding player award, but you can make a serious case for William Stanback being the most outstanding player, not just because he led the league in rushing, but the way the Alouettes played when this guy got as many touches as he did. I mean, you talk about outstanding, like he is outstanding. Like I could make the argument that Zach Collaros was the most valuable player for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers and perhaps the most valuable player out west. But again, this is the most outstanding award. And simply put, William Stanback was nothing short of outstanding this year for the Montreal Alouettes. And that's regardless of who his quarterback was. I mean, pretty much if you handed the ball off to William Stanback, you knew good stuff was going to happen more often than not. So as far as I'm concerned, like, it probably won't happen. I mean, I'm just being realistic, but if William Stanback were to actually win the most outstanding award for the Canadian Football League, it'd be such a feather in the cap. It would be so incredible just to know that that's happened. It's wow.
Yeah. No, I agree. It'll be tough, but I think it's nice not to see two quarterbacks actually.
Well, that's just it. And like I said, typically quarterbacks are the ones that get nominated for this most outstanding players award. And fine, yeah, I get it. But every once in a while, you do see one that isn't a quarterback that gets nominated, and you can't help but think, okay, maybe this is the year. Maybe this is the year that finally someone breaks through and that's not a quarterback and wins this award. And I'd say William Stanback does have a very good chance of winning the most outstanding player award. Hopefully, the people that do the voting in Toronto for the league, hopefully they feel the same way.
It'd be nice.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be nice. Also, something else was announced today, if I'm not mistaken. Another one of the year-end awards?
The other year-end award would be Most Outstanding Canadian, David Menard, who, by the way, is still not a starter for the Montreal Alouettes. It's unbelievable. I don't think this has ever happened before. Maybe Steve Daniel can let us know if this has ever happened, but to have a non-starter be nominated, like an Eastern nominee for Most Outstanding Canadian, and he's going up against a former Alouette in Bo Lacombe. Now, I got to be honest, like Bo Lacombe, we know what kind of player he is. He definitely is an outstanding Canadian for sure. He's an outstanding football player. So is David Menard. When it comes to this award, I honestly would not be surprised to see Menard edge out Lacombe. I mean, both these guys hit like a truck. Both of these guys are just outstanding defensive players. Both as Canadian as Canadian can be. Both representing their home provinces too, like the teams they play for. Like Bo is a Vancouver guy. I think he's in Vancouver, but he's a BC guy anyways.
Yeah. And
David Menard, a very proud Quebecois. I mean, like, to me, that's just kind of cool. Like, you talk about, like, what could be more Canadian than representing your home province, so to speak, for the team that you play? To me, I think if anyone should if Montreal Alouette's going to walk away with an award at the CFL Awards, I really think it would be David Menard. And the fact that he's not a starter and still able to have the phenomenal season that he has is still mind-blowing. I think a lot of people are still like, what the heck? Like, what does this guy have to do to get into the starting lineup to become a starting player? And I wouldn't be surprised if that changes in 2022. Like, I think the conversation to be had for David Menard is a long one. And I think the numbers have proven themselves. His play on the field every single game day, he's just been outstanding. He truly is an outstanding football player.
Yeah.
Even if he wasn't Canadian, he'd still be an outstanding football player.
Yeah.
The fact that he is, and the fact that he's been nominated for this award is tremendous. And like I said, got lots of respect for Bo Lacombe. I still wish he was an Alouette, quite frankly.
Yeah, I know.
Didn't work out, but he ends up going back home. I respect that. But between these two, I think you got to take a look at what Menard's done for the Alouettes versus what Lacombe's done for the Lions. And I think you got to give the edge to Menard, quite frankly. Like, you can make, when it's all said and done, like I said, I'm pretty sure Zach Collaros is going to win Most Outstanding Player for the Most Outstanding Player award. But I think for Most Outstanding Canadian, I really don't see how you can give it to Lacombe versus Menard.
Yeah,
quite frankly. But again, this is probably going to be one of those by the slimmest of margins kind of calls.
Yeah, which we won't know, but still.
Until everything's done. But realistically, if I'm going to say which Alouette is going to walk away with an award, I definitely think it will be David Menard walking away with Most Outstanding Canadian this year.
Yeah. And lastly, it was announced today, Christophe Normandy was nominated for the Jake Godard Veterans Award. What I thought was funny, too, by the way, is that the Alouettes have won the award every other year. And yes, there was no season last year.
Right.
But still 2021. Martin Bedard won it in 2019. LBJ won it in 2017. Jeff Perrett won it in 2015. Hey, it's 2021. You never know.
Well, that's it. I mean, Christophe Normand, yeah, he's definitely filled all the categories. I mean, he's definitely a great contributor to this team. He's one of those leaders on and off the field. I mean, realistically, I know there's a lot of names like Brett Lothar and Rene Paredes. These guys have done great things for their teams as well.
Yeah, no kidding.
They've really represented. So, I mean, quite possibly it could be that. It could be them that walk away with the award. But if history has taught us nothing, is that in an odd year, a Montreal Alouette will win the Jake Gaudier Award, in which case, Christophe Normand, he'd be the winner.
Yeah, exactly.
And again, you could do worse, quite frankly. I mean, like I said, he's an outstanding citizen. Definitely, one of those guys who leads on and off the field. So, yeah, I wouldn't be mad to see him walk away with this award.
Yep. Also, it was announced. I mounted it on social media already, but I at least want to mention it to our fans who may have not seen it. Is that I spoke with a representative from the Alouettes just to try to find out some information. Because the end of year stuff, we usually want to find out about 2022. The 2022 season tickets, and obviously everybody loves the year-end locker room sale. Found out today that 2022 season tickets will not be on sale until late January or early February. Don't know the reason behind it. Maybe it has to do with trying to find out what's going to happen for the season in 2022. I don't know. I would not expect anything else but for them to play, by the way. Also, there's currently been no decision yet on the annual locker room sale, and I hope it does. There's some game worn merch I want to get from the team this year. So it's stay tuned to our social medias to find out more information once we do hear more information about it. So,
yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, other than that, Cliff, I mean, I know that it is the end of the season for the Alouettes, but not end of the season of season 6 for the Alouettes Flightdeck podcast. We're trying our damnedest right now. I want to get the Alouettes president, Mario Cecchini, on, and we're hoping to do that in the next couple of weeks. If you saw our social media over the past weekend, I love you. I know you did the post yourself, Cliff, where it was like, Mario posted something and he said, "Yeah, we want to have you on. Call us." So we're looking to have Mario on, ask him about, the good, the bad, the ugly for the 2022 season as pertaining to, the head office, because I'm sure it was very challenging. And there are some other stuff that we want to have. Obviously, we want to get some more players and stuff like that. So season 6 isn't done yet. Give us the next couple of weeks and we'll, stay tuned, obviously. And if, by the way, if you happen to be a first time listener, we welcome you. We want to make sure that you stay with us and find out more about the Alouettes as the weeks go by. So we welcome you to the Alouettes Nation, Alouettes Flightdeck Nation. So
absolutely, part of the flight crew, as it were.
There you go. # flight crew.
I mean, folks, again, we definitely appreciate this. This season has been a season like no other. I mean, we from wondering if we'd even get a season because of everything that's happened with COVID to wondering if we'd be able to watch games live and how many games we would be able to go to. And, so much has happened. Like, this was definitely a season to remember. It was a season to forget for a lot of things. But I think overall, you take a look at this 2021 season for the Alouettes, it didn't end the way we wanted it to.
No.
As far as we're concerned, a lot could have gone better. A lot could have gone worse, too. I mean, I think the season truly was well represented by the Alouettes in the sense it was 50-50. There was a lot of good and a lot of bad. Yeah. And that's the thing. You take the good with the bad. And I'm thankful we had the opportunity to see.
Don't you have the facts of life? Sorry.
I hope you are.
You set me up for that one, buddy. Without you even knowing about it.
Anyways, yes. So as it stands, like I said, I'm thankful we got the full season in. I'm thankful we were able to go and be a part of this, and thankful again to be able to share this with each and every one of you listening. And we hope, if you are a new listener, we hope you stick around, because we plan to be active. Even during the off season, we'll be active. We want to get more players on. We want to get more interviews going. We want to get people talking about the Alouettes even when this season's over, because as far as I'm concerned, CFL it's pretty much become a 12-month league. Yeah. Even if they're not playing, there's still lots to talk about. There's still lots of discussion to be had as far as this team and this league goes. So we really, truly hope that you folks stick around, join us for the ride, because, I mean, we're not going anywhere.
No.
And we hope you aren't either.
Exactly. But again, stay tuned in for social media. And again, start liking. Head over to our YouTube page and like, because, hey, once we get to 100, it's yours. So it could be yours. So
100 subscribers, folks. I don't think it's that much to ask.
Nope. Nope. I agree with you. So
check it out. You know where to find us. You find us on social media. You know where to find the podcast. Pretty much anywhere you can download the podcast. Let your friends know. Let your family know. Let everybody know.
There you go.
That's all there is to it.
Exactly. So we appreciate you guys, and we hope you stay safe. And we'll speak to you very, very soon. So for everybody here at the Alouettes Flight Deck, for Cliffy D, I'm Tim Capper. We're on Final Approach.